Welcome to Athena in Truth's YouTube channel, where we provide tips and insights for you to live your best life. I am your host, Heidi Fralick. Hello, everyone. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Heidi.
Hi. So today, before we get started, we just wanted to discuss a few things with all of you. We want to be just letting you know how appreciative we are. We've released our downloadable Kundalini course, and we've had quite a few people already signed up and started taking that course. We wanted to let you know that's available now. It is available at athenaintruth.com under the courses tab. And also, our second part of the Choose Your Universe book, that course based on the second part of that book, is also out. That will start on October 13th. And we do have people signed up in that. And we have a little bit of room left if anyone is still interested. That doesn't start till October 13th. So you have some time to get into that as well.
Well, thank you for that, Heidi. I just wanted to say that I too am really grateful for everyone that's participating in what it is that we're offering. I can feel that more and more my direction or our direction is going to be headed in the Kundalini avenue. Most of my clients are very interested in that. A lot of them have already had some activity or what they would liken to the beginning stages of Kundalini awakening. And so that's one of the reasons that we started the course. And it is a downloadable course, so you do not have to be present for that. There's a lot of information in there about what you can expect, about situations, circumstances, feelings, things that you can expect on the journey to go through. So it's a really good prerequisite or something that you could take that would actually stimulate your desire. I've said before in other recordings that that energy, that female divine energy, is just like us. It's like a female. It likes to be desired. It likes to be known or chased after a little bit. And that's actually what's going to stimulate that energy within you. So the more that you can educate yourself on it and actually participate in things that promote the knowing of her, let's use that term, is very beneficial in this process. The other thing I would like to mention about the downloadable course that's based upon the book, we do use the book as a stimulation of questions, but it's not necessarily about the book so much. What happens is, and I think Heidi, you would agree, is a lot of personal exchanges occur. And many of the people that have been in the past course say that they can't believe how many things came up that were very personal even to them. So the universe has a way of bringing the right questions in through others that actually satisfy everybody in the group. And we felt like it was really a developing of closeness during that time that we were together. A lot of us really miss it. We did start a WhatsApp app chat that we get on there once in a while, and Athena will make a comment now and then to those that are on that. So we're really looking forward to anyone that wants to participate in that. We are keeping the number down to about 20 because we want to have a lot of one-on-one personal time. So there's a lot of channeling, a lot of opportunity to talk to the group, and people really like that. So presently, we really don't want to grow those numbers very big because we want to make sure that we have the capability to allow everybody ample time to talk. Other than that, I think that pretty much sums up what we're doing right now. We're going to be offering other Kundalini courses that are going to build upon the first one. Those will be coming out also. At some point, there will be an in-person course, just like the Choose Your Universe course that will come more towards the end, where activations will actually take place, or we'll have some practices that we're going to use to stimulate that energy. So that's really all I have to say about it today. And again, thank you to everyone that's participating and helping in the rising of humanity.
Hello, everyone. We're here today with a hypnotherapist, Tracy J. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank you,
Thank you for,
ladies.
yeah.
Wonderful to be here.
Great. So, Tracy, can you give us a little background on when you started with your hypnotherapy and how it kind of has evolved?
Yeah, I was always fascinated with hypnosis and the power of the subconscious mind. Um, but because I was very young, I was 12 years old when I was exposed to all this metaphysical stuff. My mom turned her back on the Catholic Church, and so she started into all this new agey kind of thing. And so I always read about channeling and past life experiences and reincarnation. And from it just stuck with me. And I guess I became certified about 23 years ago although I didn't work at it full time, I just started with my remote hypnosis, not hypnosis so much as past life regression, because that's my fascination. I just started this year going online, and I love it. I love doing this. Although I had many, many experiences with family and friends prior to that, I really wasn't working full time at it until now.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So for someone who doesn't know, can you kind of explain what exactly past life regression therapy is and how you would describe it to someone if they weren't familiar with the topic?
Well, should we start with reincarnation? I guess all your viewers are
Sure.
familiar with reincarnation,
Sure.
but past life regression therapy is about going to the source of something that's troubling you in this life. For example, it could be physical, like a nagging shoulder pain. Like I had one of my first experiences in helping someone resolve that was about his shoulder pain. Another thing could be recurring patterns in your life. If you have OCD type tendencies, recurring patterns, or you're always attracting the wrong partner in life. This could all stem from either a single or several instances of past lives where you were disappointed or in the similar way, or you passed away with the thought or the conclusion that is creating or recreating in this life the same type of energies. I often refer to samskaras, that apparently it's a Hindu word, and it's like energy residue that ends up in your field because of a trauma in death, usually, that someone experienced this, and a conclusion that they came to as they are passing. It creates this energy field that gets stuck, and it must be resolved. And so we recreate the pattern lifetime after lifetime to try to resolve this situation. And oftentimes with a past life regression, here and now, it can dissolve. It's sometimes instant. It sometimes takes days or weeks. But that's how it works as far as I understand. Athena would have to fill us in on how it really works, or if I'm too
Yeah,
far off the mark.
oh
We
yeah.
would love
Athena,
to,
would you like to weigh
yes,
in?
we would love to add to what it is that she does, because it is a big part of the work that we do. We don't call it past life regression. When a human refers to unconsciousness, what you're referring to is the human experience. When a human is conscious, that would be the divine aspect or part of them that is actually flowing through them, to them, through the energy centers or the chakras within the body. Yeah. As a human gets this awareness, and it's what you're talking about, something getting attached to or stuck in the field. These energy centers are rotating. Yeah. And how do they start rotating? Well, the minute that you are born as a child and draw a breath, you're actually excuse us, creating a suction or pulling, let's use that term. And so all of that data or experience that you have had throughout your lifetime and past lifetimes actually comes flooding right in through those energy centers. And so those babies that you call innocents, they're fully loaded. They're coming in with all of the karmic reality that they have already created. It's already in them. Yeah. And as you say, that entrapment does get bigger and bigger from one lifetime to another. So in your mind, or what you do is you like to recall the situation or circumstance, the past life that perhaps was behind the incident. And we find ourselves not too interested in that part of it. Not to say that what you're not doing is a great benefit. It is. We're not criticizing it. Yeah. But what we do is we simply look at the results in a human's life. Are they satisfied or not? Because you came here to be fully satisfied. And if we find an area that is not satisfied, we quickly locate it based upon the feeling or the emotion. We know what energy center that entrapment is in. And then we go to that and we make them understand or get a recognition of how it is that that has occurred in them. Yeah. Either they have viewed it in their lineage, they have experienced it in the present life that they are in, or perhaps it's a little more distant feeling and it's something that was in a past life. And in the recognition of that emotion, we go to it, in love, in the understanding that we are to surrender to our human experience. We're not to judge it. We're not to condemn it. We're not to try to make it different than it was. And we're not to try to stop it or get rid of it, because this will only grow the entrapment. The human wants to be recognized and loved and felt for the expansion that it's actually given its divine counterpart. It matters not whether the emotion is positive or negative. The divine part of you has expanded to the greater degree of the emotion that it has received from you. So for you to not love yourself, for you to condemn yourself, and for you to think you need a do-over in something that you have done is wrong thinking. And the human is not going to accept that kind of thinking, because it knows it's working with its divine. It's connected to it, and it knows that you have gotten expansion. It knows that you have gotten a preference by what it has suffered through. So why are we here? Yeah, we are here because we want to teach humans that there is another way to create. There is a way to create where you follow the preference, in fact, and let go, feel and release of what the emotion is that you are feeling, and that you actually follow the good feeling that you know is born in all that is in your counterpart or divine aspect of yourself. And that in this way, you send a signal to the universe that I am wanting to create from happiness and joy. I no longer want to suffer the way that I have been creating, because you are creating either way. So it is not to criticize the way that you have done it, but it has not felt too good for the human, and they're not actually receiving the good experiences that they could have flow to them very naturally from the divine part of themselves once they release the entrapment. So it's not about doing it wrong. It's not about changing it. It's not about condemning the human for what it has felt. It's about learning to feel and release, actually. Once you learn to feel and release, then negativity isn't such a problem anymore. Negativity that's held is what creates aches and pains in the body. It's what creates illness, actually, when it's let go to a great extent. And then why does that happen? Not to get too lengthy in our response, but as a human holds something, say it starts in the heart center, perhaps they have been traumatically affected by a life or even the life that they're in, and they're holding on to something in the heart center. And then they are creating from this painful point, and they're getting one experience mirrored back to them after the other that feels the way that they feel inside, but they're not recognizing it. Well, after you ignore it to a great degree, that energy center actually starts to lag or slow down. And then it starts to affect the one below it or above it, because that energy is being transferred from one wheel. They call them the wheels of life. It's being transferred down to the one below it as well. So now we're starting to affect another center. That emotion that was just in the heart center now moves down, perhaps into the belly or into the throat, depending on where it originated. And now we have more of it. We have another layer of it that has actually gone in. And so now we have this problem in the heart. Maybe we get sick a lot. Maybe we get chest colds. Maybe we're prone to something, heart problems, if it's gone on a long time. But now it could move actually down into the body and start causing another problem. Now I've got upset stomachs. Now I've got indigestion. Now I have other issues that are starting to occur in other areas where these energies are being transferred. And so it will continue to grow. It will actually spread throughout the system until the human can no longer ignore it, you see.
Mm-hmm.
As I was listening, I started to think, there are a fair number of people out there that are not necessarily in touch with their emotions and, their wounds, should we say, or their imprints in their chakras. And sometimes it's very buried and very mass, and they're not able to access that. So I was going to ask Tracy and then Athena, do you find that is a good thing for someone that is in that situation to use the past life regression because they're not consciously aware of this stuff that's kind of bottling them up? So can you walk us through, if you get a client like that, how you would be able to uncover what's actually going on there?
Well, with my process, I defer to the higher self.
Mm-hmm.
I ask, many of my clients feel that that's it. They want to work with me. A couple of them, they come to me through interviews like this, and they get a sense that they want to work with me, and I'm gratified. That's wonderful. But I always defer to their higher self. If they feel that I let the higher self guide us to the right lifetime for the emotion that they need to release. And I query them through the process, take us to the next most important day in this lifetime. And usually there's something to figure out. There's emotional breakthrough. And they always feel better afterward. And they're always shocked.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they think they've made it up. But as the days progress afterward, they feel resolved, that it wasn't made up, and they usually feel lighter and they feel better. So I always defer to the higher self. I don't pretend
Okay.
to know what's good for them.
Sure. And Athena, what's your answer on that one?
Well, sometimes when they are able to recall a past life, they give themselves permission or take themselves off the hook a little bit. Let's use that term. And they start to love themselves. It's actually what we do in sessions. And as I said, we're not necessarily delineating that we're going to a past life, but sometimes certain humans need to feel as though they're not blamed or bad or somehow that they are a cause of a bad behavior or they have done life wrong. Let's use that term. And so as they recover these past lives, they actually have something that they can refer to or look at as a cause or a reason. And this is where the healing actually comes from. And we wouldn't necessarily say that it's coming from the past life. It's actually coming from them allowing themselves to release themselves from what has held them captive or what they believed. Let's use that term. Everything in life is about having a perception and a belief attached to it. And this is where creation comes from. And from those ways of being, it actually creates streams of consciousness. There's a stream for wellness, a stream for not wellness, a stream of money, or a stream of poverty. Yeah. And then based upon what a human decides to adopt as a truth within themselves, will actually be what will draw the experience to them in one of those categories or ways. Yeah. And then they will think that not wellness exists, that poverty exists. Yeah. And we would tell you it very much exists for those that have that perception and belief. But those that hold something different actually enter into a different stream of consciousness. And so in the past life regression, you are actually entering into a stream of consciousness of which they existed in. And they are able to see themselves and love themselves. Perhaps for what their choices were or what it is that they experienced in that life, and then maybe get access to the ability to release what was held unconsciously and that is now known consciously. And what is known consciously known is that you are the divine, that you actually recognize that you are not that experience. You are not that human. You are a human that participated in a life and formed perceptions and beliefs because of what you participated in. And those perceptions and beliefs are valid. They're not judgeable. They're not condemnable. They're not wrong, but they are the creative value or what brings your life to you. And so as you start to see that consciously through this process that you were talking about, they can now choose to let go of that and then have a different preference or way of thinking and believing, and therefore create a whole different experience for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You brought
Yeah.
up too. Could I just interject here
Yes,
for a sec,
please
Heidi?
go. Yep.
I wanted to say that this brain is multidimensional, and that the way I see it is that helping them tune into, like a radio, to a station. But Athena, where I get all confused, and it's very difficult to understand though, is to think that all of these lifetimes are happening at once. So that whole thing about time, and we're in this now, and past life or future life. How do I think of that?
Well, the best way that we would describe it when we say it's happening now is the continuum of it, of the way that you are thinking and feeling in any moment of trauma or unconsciousness is still being played out or continuing on. Do you understand?
If it's not resolved, if it's not
Yes.
discovered.
Yes.
Yes.
If it is not
Yes.
discovered.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
Yes.
that's when you use the word time, but we would actually use the word experience. Yeah. So the experience is being experienced until that entrapment is actually let go of or
Right.
understood. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I get
And
it.
so we are for whatever a human would use as a technique. We would tell you that in our particular exchange, we don't tap into past lives. And again, we are not discouraging or not valuing the work that anyone such as yourself would do. But one of the reasons that we use a little bit of a different method in that process is that there are those humans who tap into past lives, and actually we call it what we describe it as opening the pod, because you are, to some degree, you're opening yourself to the human experience that caused the entrapment. Let's use that. And so as you open that pod, not only do you open that entrapment or the ability to see what is causing you to feel and create in the life that you are, but you can also release aspects of that or traits from that lifetime into the present lifetime that you are now living. It could be a little bit of a crossover or transfer, depending on how invested in or a part of that life that human consciousness was. Let's use that. Yeah. And so there's a little hesitancy sometimes. And we think that the way you're doing it is fine, but because you're letting them recover it on their own. A human will not recover a life that is going to cause problems, usually in the life that they're living. But sometimes there are those channelers, such as ourselves, that do it differently than you, not us, but others, where they will go get the life and feed it to the human. They will get it for them. Yeah. And then in this way, that is an artificial opening or one that could cause some problems. Let's say that. The way that you're doing it is not problematic because you are actually leading them to the divine part of themselves, who is deciding for them whether it is advantageous or not that they open that life, and whether it would have a negative impact or an influence on the life that they are in. But again, to repeat, if another channeler were to invade that, because the human is made to feel as though they cannot recover it on their own, and therefore the channeler gives them a description, this is what you were, this is how you were, this is how you were killed, this is why you hold that pain in your shoulder. They were to actually implant or give to them a life that they viewed. It almost puts them in a power over them. And then the human could actually adopt or take on a different way of being and alter the life that they are then in. Is that clear, or do you understand what we were saying? Yeah.
Oh, yes. And I'd like to point out that that's one of the contrasts that I make between going to a psychic or a channeler and being told who you were and what you were, instead of having the experience yourself. There's a big difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's why we don't do it. We absolutely will ask them to ask themselves. And if there's one presented to them, then it is to their advantage to know about it. It is not that we don't have access to it. We do, but we are not willing to invade that space, or we know the damage that can be done by making a human powerless, by making them feel as though they are not able to obtain something that is beneficial to themselves by themselves, because they can. And you know they can because you have done it with them. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting when they do that. I've had clients tell me that they almost felt like their higher self was going through a Rolodex. Which one do we want to give her right now? And that was fascinating. She's also a channel, this woman that I did this with. So it was a profound experience for her.
Yeah. So
but I understand, yes.
It is not problematic, and it is actually beneficial for them to recall their own lives. And so we want to be clear that having someone recall them for you, we are not in alignment to. Yeah.
The other thing I'd like to point out is that the experience is so profound. They smell things, they hear things, they see things, and it's stronger than an imaginary thing. It's almost as if they're there, and they're ripping themselves off from a phenomenal experience when they just allow themselves to be told who they were and what they were.
And then we want to go back to, as you brought up time, and we know it is a confusing concept, and one that we are never going to be able to put into words that will be completely digestible or understandable to a human. But in a traumatic event, that is still being played out, that life is still living or receiving energy. Let's use that. Yeah. And so this is the way, rather than looking at it as time necessarily, to look at it as living experiences. They are actually experiences that have energy and ability, let's use that term, to influence the present day life that you're in. Yeah.
Yep. I got it. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to think of it that way.
Yeah.
It's like concurrent experiences.
Yes.
And you're either drawing that energy in, or dissolving it with a PLR.
Yeah.
I think like what to say, also, in honorment of you, that the idea that you are respecting that there is a divine part of your client. There are many that do the work that you do, who in fact have no awareness of that, or even employ that avenue. Yeah, let's use that. So we are definitely congruent with the way that you are doing it or teaching it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, as I listened to both of you for the last few minutes, I can see where the past life regression for some people is definitely a good option because it's almost like they can see that other life as someone separate, a little bit separate from them. So they're a little bit more forgiving. You can be so hard on yourself when it's you and seeing you do something in your present life and frustrating yourself and when someone tells you, oh, just let that go, it's hard because you think it's you. But when it's a past life, it's almost like, oh, I can let that go.
Yep.
And that feels easier. So I think that is a good option for people.
Yeah.
So can you give us like some of the methods or the techniques that you use with your clients when they come for sessions?
Well, yeah, sure. I just want to point out there's a big difference between meditation and hypnosis in the fact that we really try, well, I do, I can't speak for everybody, to get people deep. There are 4 levels of consciousness. There's beta, there's alpha, there's theta, and there's delta. So I really try to get them down into deep alpha and early theta. In theta, that you can have painless childbirth and painless dentistry. So I want to be deep enough that the conscious mind is out of the way. So we will use I'll use a fractional induction, which is simply relaxing from the head down to the toes, deep breathing and repeating this process. And then I give them some visuals to think about that bore them. Frankly, it bores the conscious mind out of the way so that it stops analyzing and they just allow themselves to be. And once I've completed this induction, and this is taking place remotely, I don't do this in person, so the technique is a little bit different. I want to make sure that they're in the depths sort of that I need them to be in order to have a good experience. So yes, it's fractional relaxation. And then from that point, I have them imagine that their light beings, their guides are around them and lifting them up into the ethers and traveling with them until they reach the place where their higher self has decided it's the right place, it's the right experience. And then we bring them back down to the ground and then they can walk through this white bubble. And then I question them, I don't want people to feel they're on the hook. So I give them some time to feel, to sense what they're experiencing around them and to feel free to use their imagination, because this all comes from the right side of the brain, this, your imagination, your creativity. And so I allow them to just talk about the first things that come to their head, but I guide them in that. I'll say, is it daytime or is it nighttime? Are you indoors or are you outdoors? And usually that helps get them on a roll and then they start talking. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. And now, how do you know if they're actually in a past life or they're imagining something, or is really it one and the same thing?
It doesn't
the
matter.
Imagination is just as real.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. What matters is their experience, is what they're experiencing and the release that takes place. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Okay. So do you ever have a client that you are not able to get to those deep states, that they're not able to relax enough?
I have different methods. Yes, I do have people who, and we'll try again. We'll book another appointment and try again, because I want my people to have results. I really would like them to have an experience. And so I'm very happy to try again with them. But what I do is, see, when you're in person, you can tell people, you can suggest to them that their eyes are shut, they're glued shut. This is a hypnosis thing. And I don't do that. I just talk them deep enough. That's my attempt anyway, but usually they'll say, I don't feel anything. I didn't work. So, because you can always pop yourself out of hypnosis. Nobody's in control of you. So you have to decide you're going to allow yourself to relax. I only have so much control.
Right.
They say all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So you have to be willing and you have to be prepared to do it. And if you don't want to do it, then don't do it.
Yeah. So I think I read somewhere, I don't know if I had read it on your website or where I read it, that that there are a lot of channelers that like start channeling or have these things happen or occur after they clear out things in a past life hypnosis.
This
So I
is,
wanted to ask you and then
yeah,
Athena about that.
yeah. So uh, this is what it's been tossing around in my mind for the past week. I don't know if I said that or not, but this is certainly something that I've been thinking about. I know that I've had many people channel their own higher selves.
Mhm.
And usually, they have a couple of past lives. I don't know if they're getting familiar with the state that they have to be in order to allow it to happen. I'm not sure. Or if it's the fact that they're getting these energy samskaras, blockages out of the way in order to open the channel. So, but yes, it does happen, and it's really
Yeah,
exciting when it does, because the information that comes through can be very profound.
sure. Athena, would you like to weigh in on that?
Yes, what we would tell you is that it is the same for us when we are in a session with a client. We don't get it very often, but once in a while we will get a client and it'll feel like a dead zone, or there won't be any information that will be available to us. And then we will know right away that the human has denied or closed its field, either in its not belief or apprehension, whatever it is. Yeah. They are holding something that is in connection to the divine part of themselves that is not allowing the exchange to happen, you see. And we would tell you that it is the same in hypnosis. The human is a tool. It is an unconscious tool. It basically functions upon experiences. It draws conclusions by what it feels, by what happens to it in its life and its experiences with others, situations, circumstances. And so this tool is out there experiencing with its senses. But in fact, if the tool doesn't agree, doesn't believe or align or submit or say, I want to recover the past lives and believe that it's possible, the divine part will not supply them with the past life. So it's actually coming from your connection to the divine part of yourself, which you referred to as the high self, the higher part. This divine aspect holds all of you. It holds every a life experience you've ever had. It knows your lineage and it knows the life that you're living. And so as the human asks, has a preference, I'd like to know my past lives, it has to align to that. It has to believe that that's possible. It has to match the tone or the vibration of its divine counterpart in order for the divine to flow that information to it, just so you have an idea of where it's coming from. And so understanding that process and that knowing and perhaps preparing the client very fully to the understanding that you're the conductor. You're the one that's conducting this energy. You're the one that is deciding whether or not you will believe, whether or not you will align to your desire to know what it is you want to know about yourself. And so therefore, the quality of the exchange that we'll have will largely depend on that connection to yourself, in your belief of it, in your desire to have it, and in your alignment to it. That's where it's going to come from. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. I know that there's a lot of psychics that cannot, just as you said, they just can't get a grasp on somebody because that somebody doesn't really want to know.
Absolutely. Or there's something within them that is not, or knowing even. Maybe it knows that it's not a good thing for them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's some reason for it. Sometimes it can be some type of a trauma or a painful experience that a human is holding. It is our experience with the few clients that we've had that maybe entered a session a little bit closed off, and therefore there wasn't a good flow of material coming in, that it wasn't that they didn't want it. It was that they were actually in a little bit of denial about what they might receive. Maybe they're hiding a little bit. Maybe they're not comfortable with what it is that would be revealed publicly, what they consider publicly in an exchange with us or anyone else. So it might be an unconscious thought. It could be, I don't want to expose myself this way. I don't want to know. I don't want anyone to know what it is that I am holding. Yeah. And it could happen in your exchange as well, that even though they have come to you because something is bothersome to them, they want the bothersome removed without you actually knowing what it is that is behind the bothersome. Yeah.
Yes, there's sometimes a reluctance to be vulnerable. And I talk with them about that sometimes, and you want to clear it, you do have, and it's only emotion, it's, they're not going to be judged, not by me.
Yeah.
There's so much that I've seen, but
the emotion is being held because they are in judgment and condemnation of themselves. Yeah.
of themselves.
So,
Yes.
yeah. So if they had recognized that they are a tool, that they are an experiencer, and that they are not required to do everything right, and that there is no bad humans, no evil doers, no people that are not worth anything, that in fact is a not truth, or something dogmatically that has been placed upon humans. But they have believed that. They have believed that there's something wrong with them, there's something bad about them, that they are deserving of the suffering that they are in. And so it's basically getting them to that understanding that that is certainly not the case. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
very
and
good.
we've certainly noticed in the course that we did, it was an interactive course, and that level of fear or judgment was kind of a little bit more like in the early days of the course, and then they kind of ripped that top layer off and just could go deeper and deeper and deeper, which is, I'm sure, what happens in your hypnotherapy sessions. And it really is a gift when someone can have that vulnerability, even though it's hard to achieve. It's a gift because that's where you find all the stuff that is so freeing to you.
Exactly. That's
yeah.
wonderful. It's wonderful. And yes, sometimes it's 2 or 3 sessions that I have with a client, and they're getting more and more and more open, and it's wonderful.
And much of it can be about trust. Maybe many
Yes.
of the infractions or things that occurred to them were from people they trusted, or someone that they felt they could trust. So it's very likely that it could take several appointments or sessions in order for them to reach that level of confidence and trust within their arrangement with you. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm just thinking now about doing group sessions for a few dollars, and do it once a week or once every 2 weeks, for people to get a taste of what it's like and to get to know the process. So yeah, I think
that would be awesome.
I think it's a good way to get people familiar with how it works, and maybe have their own experiences even in a group session.
Right. So I'm curious to know, have you noticed like commonalities between your sessions? Not that it has to be exactly the same subject, but uncovering kind of the same core wounds. Have you noticed commonalities at all with that?
I'll tell you two different scenarios that have come up recently. One of them was that instead of going to past lives, people are going to early lives. I had 3 or 4 of those. This life, just childhood experiences, which is great. It was very impactful for them, and in all cases. But the other one, I want to tell you this story. This was very fascinating. I had one lady who does not meditate regularly, but she was a fantastic subject, and she went into her hypnosis very easily, and she was able to channel her higher self. But on this other occasion, we did 2 or 3 sessions together. I asked her, are you indoors or outdoors? I'm outdoors. And I said, she volunteered, I'm on a beach and I'm looking at 3 suns. So then I had her look down at her feet, which is something else. What are you wearing on your feet? My feet are bare, but my skin is blue. And as I walked her up her body, she told me the clothes she was wearing. And I said, look at your hands. They're blue. How many fingers? She said she had 4 fingers. So we went on to have this experience. Another important day in that lifetime was her wedding day. And so we went through this process, and she was a data scientist in the ethers I asked her what kind of being she was or what race. She says she was humanoid, but she is Taigetan. And then that was fantastic. So we went with it. Oh my gosh, I'm hearing a helicopter overhead. Can you guys hear that? Should I close this window?
I can't hear it. No.
Oh, thankfully. So 2-3 weeks later, I have if they sign up for my newsletter on my website, I will put them into a draw to win a past life regression. So this woman who won a past life regression, she was in Florida. Now the first lady was in Texas. And so I regressed her. And so Are you indoors or outdoors? I'm outdoors. And can you tell me about your environment? I'm on a beach and I'm looking at the sunset. Okay. Can you look down at your feet? My feet are bare. I said, tell me about your skin. She says, it's a blue hue. I said, oh, that's interesting. So she works her way up her body. She's wearing the same clothes as the other lady. They don't know each other. And then she tells me that she has 4 fingers. And then we move on to her next. I don't know why this happened, but then we move on to the most important day or the next important day, and she's at her wedding. So for her, it tied in that yes, it was amazing because it was almost exactly the same scenario. And I don't know, I'd love to hear Athena weigh in on that one.
Well, before Athena does, I just have to say that the thought that passed through my mind is, could it be that these 2 individuals were these individuals that were actually married in that incarnation, and that's the connected point through you is you experienced both of them, but they both were a couple.
Well, they were actually couples. In both cases, they were married to the person that they are currently married to in that lifetime.
Interesting. Crazy.
Yeah. So I couldn't find any relation between the 2, except for that they were both this Taigetan race.
Athena, what do you have to say about that?
Well, a consciousness can communicate through not just itself, but through any being. And we would say that was more communication to you than it was between them, if that makes any sense to you. So what we are saying is, in your first client, she had the ability to connect to this lifetime. Yeah. And then that was revealed to you. Yeah. It was kind of letting you know you're going to get more than just your average human recall. You might get other realm recall. Let's use that term. Yeah. And so then as you went to another lady and regressed, it's not necessarily that they're going to pull exactly their lifetime. A lifetime could come back through another individual that's separate, a different one, and reveal itself through it to you. To you. Yes. Do you understand what we were saying?
Not exactly. No.
So we are trying to explain to you that that blue being or that entity that communicated through the first being actually came back and communicated through your next client. Yeah. But it was the same entity or being. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what did it reveal to you, or what was it that confirmed in you by that exchange? What did it feel like, or what happened to you from that exchange?
Well, it was very exciting for me.
Yeah.
I never heard of, she came right out and said Taigetan.
Yeah.
And then I had to look it up. I saw that it's a star system in the Pleiades, or it's a moon in the Pleiades. I can't remember.
So it's more of a communication to you, or a signal to you, that not only are you in regression going to be recalling past lives that would be quote unquote what you would deem as normal or regular, but that your work could go into a direction where you could actually see something quite different, or another existence or realm of reality. Do you understand? Yeah.
Yes, so I do. And I've had those experiences with other people. That was just a strange one because they were both parallel, like the same reports.
Yeah. It was a confirming factor for you. I exist. This exists. This was not a fluke, or something you can dismiss as a imaginary thing or a one-time thing. Yeah. This being actually exhibited or propelled itself again through another entity to reveal itself to you in confirmation. I exist. Yeah. Here I am again. How can you ignore all of the detail that I'm giving you? Do you understand?
Yes. Yeah. I did see it. I did see a UFO in 2014 that was just over my head, like 50, 100 feet over my head. So I'm well aware of all this stuff. Not that I've had too many, experiences, not face to face, but
we would tell you what is going to come of this, and even our exchange today, is you're going to be expanded in that direction. That's going to be the excitement. Understand something. Why is your life coming to you in the way that it is? Because something excites you, something makes you passionate, something makes it fun, something makes you feel inside that enlightened me or lit me up, that made me engaged. Let's use that. I think you would agree that that exchange had a large engagement or an effect upon you, more even than any other that you have exchanged with someone. Do you understand? Yeah.
Yes, but there is another one that I didn't tell you about.
Yes, but what we're saying is these encounters of a different realm are more stimulating to you, more exciting to you, and
Yes.
therefore the universe receives that from you, and you're going to get more and more and more of this type of revelation or experience because you're calling it to yourself through your love of it, through your excitement of it, through the thrill of it, through the uniqueness of it. Let's even say that. Yeah.
Yes, sure. Bring it on.
Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar, Tracy, with Gaia TV.
Vaguely. I haven't seen
Okay,
anything on
there
Gaia,
is
just
a
the
there is
commercials.
a show on there that is about the Taigetan
Oh,
race. Yes,
oh,
and I've seen it. And so yeah, if you ever get a chance, if you want to
oh, interesting.
check it out.
I
Yeah.
will. I will. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So we just want to
So
say again, we're really feeling, and seeing that in your future, that this is going to become more of a regular occurrence, or you're going to get more and more clients that are actually connected to alternative realities or have been. Yeah.
Is there anything I need to keep in mind, Athena?
As far as what? Is there a fear
As far
there?
as those entities that are outside the normal realm,
yeah.
dealing with them?
Well, we would tell you that there's nothing to fear. There are many humans that, quite honestly, sensationalize. Let's use that term. Other races in the building of fear within the human race, and so we would tell you that there is absolutely nothing that a human ever needs to fear unless they hold fear within them, unless they actually feel as though they could be harmed, they could be hurt, that they're not in control of their experience. You would agree that even on the earth that there are those humans that could do you harm, that are not what you would call nice people, or ones that do the right thing. Let's use that term. And so we would tell you that in any race that is possible. And so how do you attract people that don't do the right thing or that you are fearful of, is that you actually start to focus upon or dwell in spaces that you believe that this is a possibility for you, or you're scared walking out to your car, you're afraid with your windows not covered. So you have these things in you that actually open you up to this type of reality, because it does exist. If you believe in it, that's what reality is. You perceive something to be fearful of. You feel like you have to guard against something, and therefore something that has to be guarded against then approaches you. So we would tell you that you have full control over the clients and the experience that you draw to yourself, based upon knowing that, based upon no fear, based upon I draw my experiences to me in the way that I want to feel. I'm fine feeling excited. I'm fine feeling like it was a great discovery and something new and exciting, but I am certainly not fine with feeling something that would not be to my liking or in alignment with me.
But I don't think I draw it to me either, because I don't dwell on those things of
Absolutely.
not being
And that would be
safe or
that would be the only thing that we would say, that you would never have anything to worry about in this changeover or new type of client that you would be getting, except for any fear or apprehension that you would hold about it.
I was actually thinking about sort of moving toward those people who have had experiences and helping them uncover their memories of where they're physically gone from in this body, to
where they have
other
been
realms.
abducted or gone to other realms.
So I was thinking working in that direction. So yeah, I'm
And
excited.
when did that thought come? Did it come after your encounter with these ones?
It's been there for longer, actually, because I was one of those Star Trek crazy people. not crazy, but aficionados. And so I've been fascinated with this thing for a very, very long time.
So then this is the creative value, or the thing that would draw it to you, in the way that you want to do it. We tell people all the time, we get a lot of people before us that would like to awaken their Kundalini. They would like to become channelers of themselves, or perhaps a group. And then they have this feeling or way about them that they think it's not possible. It is possible to and you just described it exactly there. You loved that thing. You loved watching it. You were taken by it. Yeah. And therefore, eventually that makes its way into your experience based upon your alignment. And you are now reaching a very, a good place of satisfaction in your life. And through that satisfaction comes alignment. Yeah. And through alignment comes all of the things that you have loved on, that you have enjoyed on, start to actually materialize or bring experiences to you that you yourself as a human couldn't even imagine for yourself. We tell humans all the time what's so exciting when you finally understand that the universe holds not just you in the life you're in, it holds you in your past lives and all of your lineage, so that when you do come into what we call alignment, and alignment means congruency, I'm in agreement with the choices I'm making in my life. I am no longer a victim or feeling as though something is being put on me that I have no control over. I understand, I create, and I know through my focus that I hold and the way that I feel, it's how I do it. When you actually start doing this, the universe aligns to you, and then it will flow experiences to you that you yourself as a human could never imagine for yourself. You think you know what you want to feel satisfied until you really get satisfied. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I believe that. Let's see.
Yeah. All right, so let's just switch gears quickly because I wanted to touch on, you do a practice called EFT, the emotion, I
Yes.
believe it's the emotional freedom technique. Can you just kind of give
Yeah.
us a little bit about that for our viewers that aren't aware of
Sure.
it and what it does?
Yes, certainly. EFT is a method of manual stimulation with 2 fingers of acupressure points on your body. And I follow Robert Smith's faster EFT method. And the reason that I use this, it's a method of tapping on these points to clear blockages, energy blockages. It can be very, very effective. But I use this with my clients when they're feeling an emotional block, or they're feeling afraid of doing a past life regression, or they're feeling anxiety or angst about something. Sometimes I will work with them with this therapy first, for sometimes more than 2 or 3 sessions, just to help them, to give them a tool for one thing that they can use anytime, anywhere. It's very powerful. And so and sometimes I use it in conjunction with the past life regression if they feel any anxiety about doing it, or blockage about not wanting to know what they really need to know, as Athena aptly described. So yes, it's a wonderful therapy. Yeah.
We would add, Heidi, if we may, to that,
Yes.
because we're kind of glad we're here coupling with you today, because we feel like we love the things that you're doing, and we also like adding a little bit to understanding why you're doing them. Yeah. And actually, what we talked about earlier, we want people to understand that trauma takes up space in the body. It's actually a physical space that is being occupied by an energetic entrapment. And so that this, therefore, the tapping on the meridians or the spots of the body are where a lot of the residue or energy can actually be stored. So as one stimulates that through tapping, sometimes through long hold yoga poses, there are other ways also. It is same principle. You're actually loosening or riling up, let's use that term, that energy, and then have better access to it, or better ability to perhaps release it from the body. Yeah.
Yes. I think of it as guitar strings that are encrusted. And when you tap, you're sort of shaking them off the strings, all that blocked energy.
Yeah.
So it's a good visual.
To clarify once again that the chakras and a lot of the other meridians in the body, the nadis, they're all sending and receiving devices that they actually send out emotion or experiences to the divine part of yourself, and then the divine receives those charges of energy and actually lifts them to the high vibration of which it is a part of. And so to really understand that when a human starts to become their experience, or become unconscious, let's use that term, and starts to hold on to emotion, and their life starts to reflect things that are just that negative emotion back at them, it's the divine working with the human saying, hey, I've expanded to this great thing that you could be having, and the human keeps saying, well, this is the emotion that I have. This is what I'm feeling. Yeah, I'm sending it out over and over again. And so as you get this recognition that you're the one that denies your own divinity by what you hold on to, not by what you feel. It's not a right or a wrong way to feel. It's the idea that you become the human, and you want to prevent more feelings that have hurt you. So you close the energy center, you pinch off that center, and then the natural flow of energy that would generally enter into that center and bring you experiences that would be very positive that you would like the feel of can no longer get into it, because this thick sludgy deposit is in there, and therefore the tapping or shaking or long hold stretches and some of these types of things, a human can actually start to move or jar that energy a little bit and get that released out of the system, and therefore there it is again, allow your own divinity flow to come right into that energy center and start. Then life is no longer about efforting. It's no longer about working hard or doing it right or having to go out and meet the right people. They're already formed the moment that you have a preference. The moment that you experience something you don't like, what you do like has already formed. And so to understand, I don't need to effort. I don't need to go out and do something to make my experience unfold. They are waiting for me. What my job is, or my goal, let's use that, is to figure out a way that I can release what it is that I am hanging on to and clogging my system up and not allowing the natural flow of experiences in. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So Tracy, if our viewers would like to find out more about how they would do a session with you or information about what you do, can you just give us your website information and where they can find you?
Sure. Thank you. My website is visitapastlife.com. And as I said, you can win a PLR with me. I do a draw once a month if you sign up to my newsletter. And the other thing is that I have a YouTube channel as well. It's YouTube at visitapastlife.com. And I do have a Patreon that I'm thinking about getting going for the reasons I spoke about before, where people can get a taste of what it's like to have a PLR in a group session. Of course, I can't interact with them individually, but I can suggest, to look at their feet. Is it indoors or outdoors, or is it daytime or nighttime? So I'm excited about evolving that so that people can have the experience.
That's awesome. And we will also, for our listeners, post your website information and YouTube information in the comments with the video as well. So if anybody misses you saying it there, it'll be written for them as well.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I've learned a lot. You've reminded me of some things that I'm grateful for. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. It was such a pleasure having you on. I really
Thanks, Robin. Thank you so much, ladies. It's been a pleasure myself. I kept leaving it an hour's gone by.
I know. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Take care then.